Last time. The Punic Wars. Rome became master of the Mediterranean. But that victory began to shake Rome from within. When soldiers returned from war, their farms were gone. Large landowners had taken them over. History Episode 20. Classical Era. The Crisis of the Roman Republic. Part 1. The Gracchi Brothers. An attempt at reform. In 133 BC, the tribune Tiberius Gracchus proposed redistributing public land to the poor. The senatorial aristocracy fought back. Tiberius passed his law, but he was killed that same year. Political violence had entered Roman politics. 10 years later, his brother Gaius followed the same path. He attempted broader reforms but died in 121 BC. What the Gracchi left behind was not only law but precedent. Crowds and violence had become tools of Roman politics. Part 2. Marius and Sulla. When the army swallowed politics. In Marius's time, the army began to change. Men without property could now enlist, and came to depend on their generals for support. This change shook the foundations of the Republic. Soldiers' loyalty increasingly shifted from the state toward individual generals. In 88 BC, Sulla marched on Rome. A Roman army had never done this before. Sulla became dictator, purged his enemies, and then stepped down. But the precedent remained. Marius showed that an army could become a political tool. Sulla confirmed that it could occupy Rome itself. Part 3. Spartacus and the First Triumvirate. In 73 BC, Spartacus, a Thracian gladiator, escaped from a gladiatorial school in Capua and led a rebellion. Spartacus's rebellion shook Italy for 2 years. At its peak, his force may have reached 120,000. Crassus crushed the rebellion in 71 BC. 6,000 rebels were crucified along the Appian Way. In 60 BC, Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus formed an official alliance. The First Triumvirate. Each man got what he wanted. Caesar wanted Gaul. Part 4. Caesar. From the Rubicon to the Ides. 8 years in Gaul made Caesar Rome's most powerful military commander. The Senate grew afraid of him. The Senate ordered Caesar to disband his army and return to Rome. He refused. January 49 BC. The Rubicon. Caesar led his army across the river. Civil war had begun. Pompey and many senators fled Rome. Caesar entered the city without resistance. At Pharsalus in 48 BC, Caesar decisively defeated Pompey's army. Pompey fled to Egypt and was assassinated there. Caesar became dictator but did not completely abolish the formal institutions of the Republic. Tensions with the Senate continued. March 15, 44 BC. The Ides of March. Conspirators stabbed Caesar in the theatre of Pompey. His body was left with 23 wounds. Part 5. After Caesar. The final civil wars. Mark Antony delivered Caesar's funeral speech. The crowd erupted in anger. The assassins fled. Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, was 18. No one took him seriously. That was a mistake. The second triumvirate: Octavian, Antony, and Lepidus. 3 men divided power. Brutus and Cassius were defeated at Philippi. The Republican cause collapsed. Rome's fate rested in the hands of 2 men. Antony allied with Cleopatra in the east. In Rome, the alliance was portrayed as a betrayal. Actium, 31 BC. Octavian won. Antony and Cleopatra retreated to Egypt and died there. Part 6. Augustus. Building an empire inside the shell of a republic. In 27 BC, Octavian offered to return his powers to the Senate. The Senate granted him the title Augustus. Augustus did not call himself emperor. He was princeps, the first citizen. He built a monarchy, using the language of the republic. Rome had changed, but it refused to admit that it had changed. That was Augustus's genius. The Pax Romana, the Roman peace. For nearly 200 years, the Mediterranean world lived under a relatively stable order. The price was republican liberty. Part 7. What the crisis of the Republic left behind. The Roman Republic died slowly, not in a single moment, but over the course of a century. From the Gracchi to Caesar, Rome spent a century solving structural problems through violence. The Republic ultimately paid the price. The ideals of the Republic did not disappear. They survived in Cicero's writings and on the desks of the framers of the U.S. Constitution. The Republic ended. The Empire began. In the West, the Roman Empire endured for nearly 500 more years. Next time, the Roman Empire. The Age of Emperors, the Pax Romana, and the moment the empire begins to decline.